of the week of the labor we gave all week. It is also an opportunity for us to rise another degree. In the 10, we talked about the how will we prepare for the lesson, and we brought a few excerpts from the introduction to tests in which Bala Sulam directs us in a precise way towards our demand. What should be our demand during the lesson? So let us now try to open our heart a little bit and enter into the words of Balasam. The student pledges prior to the study to strengthen himself in faith in the Creator and in his guidance and reward and punishment. As our sages said, your employer is liable to pay you the reward for your work. One should aim one's labor to be for the mitzvot of the Torah, and in this way he will be rewarded with enjoying the light in it, and his faith will strengthen and grow through the power in this light. As it is written, it shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones. Again, the student pledges prior to the study to strengthen himself in faith in the Creator and in his guidance in reward and punishment. As our sages said, your employer is liable to pay you the reward for your work. One should aim one's labor to be for the mitzvot of the Torah, and in this way he will be rewarded with enjoying the light in it, and his faith will strengthen and grow through the power in this light. As it is written, it shall be health to your navel and marrow to your bones. Excerpt 2. If one practices Torah and fails to remove the evil inclination from itself, it is either that he has been negligent in giving the necessary labor and exertion in the practice of Torah, as it is written, I did not labor and found do not believe it, or perhaps he did put in the necessary amount of labor but has been negligent in the quality. This means that while practicing Torah, they did not set their minds and hearts to draw the light in the Torah, which brings faith to one's heart. Rather, they have been absent-minded about the principal requirement demanded of the Torah, namely the light that yields faith. And although they initially aimed for it, their minds went astray during the study. Go back. Exer number 3. There's a wonderful, invaluable remedy to those who engage in the wisdom of Kabbalah, although they do not understand what they are learning. Through the yearning and the great desire to understand what they're learning, they awaken upon themselves the lights that surround their souls. When he engages in this wisdom, mentioning the names of the lights and the vessels related to his soul, they immediately illuminate upon him to a certain extent. However, they illuminate for him without clothing the interior of his soul, for lack of vessels able to receive them. Yet that illumination one receives time after time during the engagement draws upon him grace from above and imparts him with abundance of sanctity and purity, which bring him much closer to achieving his wholeness. Silent workshop. Let's think with what intention we're entering the lesson. Let's think with what intention we're entering the lesson. They are sleep. The cover, leave, are men. Dear friends, in the first part of the lesson, we will learn from a lesson from September 3rd, 2020 on the topic of work with faith above reason. We'll read selected excerpts from the sources. Hello, we are in a lesson on the topic of faith above reason. I'm going to read selected excerpt from the sources. We are in exit number 16. The study material is on the scitic.tv. To watch the study material on Galaxy, click on the book icon in the menu on top. You can also ask questions on site. Selected questions that are relevant to the topic will be asked during the lesson of please. Let's continue. Simply continue. This topic, faith above reason, is a never-ending topic. It ends, but the end of correction. Till then we have to raise the force of bestow above the force of reception, or, in other words, faith above reason. We have to try and combine the two, but in a special way each time. The way we assemble what we receive from the Creator, so it changes our corporeal situation, meaning our reason, and accordingly we have to elevate ourselves to faith above reason, meaning this is how we build the spiritual world on top of the corporeal world. When we finish this work, at every stage it's revealed. That stage is revealed, and when the stage ends, we don't know. We get it ready-made, and it's not really important for us. Because what's important for us is to constantly yearn to be raising faith above reason. So, the Creator gives both reason in a way that He constantly seemingly confuses us, brings us down, gives us all kinds of burdenings of the heart, and at the same time we have to relate to it with understanding, with love, and be ready for it, and to try each time to have such a relation toward it that it's as if we're riding the waves with our faith above the reason. Let's see how we do this. Now, what I do want to say is that the more we feel that we are going down toward in an error in various states in corporality, we become more worldly, more closer to our ordinary life, worldly life. Don't worry about it. Don't think like you're drifting away from spirituality. But it all depends on the extent to which on top of the corporeal low states we can rise above reason. Let's see, please. The purpose of the work is in the literal nature, since in this work he no longer has room to fall down lower down, since he's already placed on the ground, meaning we get such states from above, from the Creator, that we feel that we are seemingly immersed in materialism and corporeality, and we have no way to rise above it like the simplest people. And that's a situation. Each time we have to be closer, the situation has to be closer and closer, and this is because he does not need greatness, because to him it is always like something new. That is, he always works as though he had just begun to work. He works in the form of accepting the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. The basis upon which he built the order of the work was in the lowest manner, and all of it was truly above reason. Only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith, literally with no support. Additionally, he accepts this work with great joy, as though he had had real knowledge and vision on which to establish the certainty of faith, and to that exact measure of above reason, to that very measure as though he had reason. Hence, if he persists in this way, he can never fall. Rather, he can always be in gladness by believing that, sorry friends, we have a problem with the broadcast, so we're going to read the excerpt number 16. So again, we're reading from the collection of excerpts about working with faith above reason number 16. The purpose of the work in there is in the literal and nature, since in this work he has no longer the room to fall lower down, since he's already placed on the ground. This is because he does not need greatness, because to him it is always like something new. That is, he always works as though he has just begun to work, and he works in the form of accepting the burden of kingdom above, of heaven above reason. The basis upon which he built the order of the work was in the lowest manner, and all of it was truly above reason. Only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith, literally with no support. Additionally, he accepts this work with great joy, as though he had had real knowledge and vision on which to establish the certainty of faith, and to that exact measure of above reason, to that very measure as though he had reasoned. Hence, if he persists in this way, he can never fall. He can always be in gladness by believing that he is serving a great King. Now we will ask a workshop question. How is it possible to feel true joy in a work of loneliness when we have nothing to rely on but only on faith? Again, a question for a workshop in the tense. How is it possible to feel true joy in the work out of loneliness when we have nothing to rely on but only on faith? A workshop in the tense. It is possible to feel such joy thanks to the fact that we're attached to the holy society that draws from the Kabbalist Holy Torah, which is the complete opposite of our nature, to the extent that we're in a tent that appreciates this spiritual law, which is completely the opposite of me, to the extent that there is such importance that we build. It is possible to appreciate his work, even if I don't feel anything in my reason, in my mind. We build it as a higher degree, and we're actually even very happy, because precisely these revelations that are not inside the will to receive testify that we are walking on the right path, on the path of truth. The joy comes by incorporating with it. Friends, joy is the result of good deeds, and the work of above reason is one of these deeds. Yes, when we have that, we have a method that helps us to come out of this state. So the joy is about the greatness of the Creator, is the joy that precisely now, instead of my mind, I now advance with the mind of the upper one. This is my friends. I can expand reality and my heart into a new place of faith and bestow, so that this bestow will be between us, will reside between us every moment, through the greatness of the Creator and the greatness of the friends. Yes, it's possible to be happy in the state of loneliness, because it's a very special state from which we can raise a true prayer. We know that there is none else besides Him, and from a state where no one can help you. Precisely from this state it is possible to raise man. If I feel that I already have faith, it awakens great joy, and we should simply be happy about it all the time, that there is none else besides Him. As Rabesh writes, everything depends on the greatness and importance of the goal. The greater and more important the goal is for us than the individual states that we go through become less significant. And so, when we build for ourselves such an environment that constantly enlarges the engagement in spirituality, the work, the labour, the path, and not the final call, whether we did not receive, we reached it, we did not reach it, all kinds of such calculations, but rather the work itself is a reward. This requires constant work of building the greatness and the importance. And then even in states of loneliness or an ascent, we realize it's all part of the path. Writes joy out of the fact that only the connection with the Creator is what's important for us, and every state that we get, we attribute it to Him, that it is intended to help us reach a connection between us and a prayer to Him, and to appreciate things that are not within reason, that are higher, more exalted, that they give us joy. It is possible. Only I'm in an environment that works on me, that organizes me, that turns me upside down. So it turns out that our only advice is always just to invest in the holy society that we have. Constantly appreciate it, elevate it, build it, make them happy, and in that we can always add. And we should be in prayer for the friends. It depends on the goal. Our goal is to give the Creator contentment, and we need to hold on to it. Work is done out of the connection between us. From there we raise the prayer out of the faith. We know that faith removes all the limitations from a person. That's grow every moment. Like this environment that constantly develops you on the staff, doesn't give you one quiet moment. Precisely in this lowly place, from there it is possible to grow to spring. A moment and prayer. Yes, in the state of loneliness we should hold on to the friends. We should turn to get help. We should ask for support. Even though we forget everything, there is always the society next to you. There's a force that's ready to help you. Yes, faith is a feeling that truly brings joy. If we're in this faith, then it truly brings great joy. And if it's faith above reason, then I should truly be happy. And the states of loneliness are an opportunity for a person to adhere to the society more, an opportunity to turn to the Creator, an opportunity to understand how small He is in relation to the Creator, and an opportunity to do work in order to give the Creator contentment. Problem is that I measure within my vessels because I'm an egoist, and when I measure within my vessels all the wise advice doesn't help, because I see that I'm empty, so I need to grow stronger above it. But I don't have the forces to grow stronger above it unless there are forces that operate on me, that influence me, and therefore, whichever way I try to manipulate it and spin it, the only way I have to get the right reference point is if I merge myself within you. Thank you very much. To give an example to each other, from words, we have to move to action. We have been privileged with connection, reading the sources. This is great joy, and it's exactly our state right now. When we reach loneliness, it's a good state. It's a healthy state. It means that we made efforts, great efforts, towards connection, and we did not succeed. And when we do not succeed, we learn that we have to turn to the Creator, because only He will help. So it makes us happy when we reach such high states. States of loneliness or emptiness, like said, but exactly that circle, that's kind of circle like zero, which is really my will to receive, that begins to be filled by the bestow of the upper one, and that's from the efforts and the overcomings that friends make. And this fills this empty place. It fills it with love, joy that we have an opportunity to work. Every day we have ups and downs, and that's our work, and we received special vessels. so as to use their ups and downs in the right way, and that's why we overcome. We have to overcome all the states thanks to the friends and with the help of the light, the reforms. Yes, you're with friends. You look at them, you feel that they have faith. You receive forces from them. Only your friends can give you this feeling. Adds our calculation is not with the will to receive, but that we have an opportunity to rise above it and be in connection with the Creator, turn to the Creator, and that's what's important to us, that's what's precious to us. Yes, I'll add. In some of the excerpts we already read, especially from Balaam, he writes that even if one can receive reward, he doesn't want to, because he wants to remain in a state where he's always holding on to faith above reason. And also in the beginning of the lesson, Raph said that faith above reason is something that is endless. It ends probably in the final correction. That's exactly it. This work of raising faith above reason is not a single time event. It's not one action. It's our life. It's our ongoing state. The Creator adds reason, and we add faith, and so on. And that's how we advance. And this is the actual process of a person advancing. So, whether he's low or high or feels joyful or otherwise. Okay friends, we had some technical problem. Now we will go back to our recorded lesson from the 3rd of September 2020. Work in Faith Above Reason. We're reading selected excerpts from the sources. We'll go back to the recorded lesson. Shalom. Hello. We are in a lesson on the topic of faith above reason. I'm going to read our excerpt from the sources. We are in exit number 16. The study material is on the site cam.tv. To watch the study material on Galaxy, click on the book icon in the menu on top. You can also ask questions on the site. Selected questions that are relevant to the topic will be asked during the lesson of please. Let's continue. Simply continue. This topic, faith above reason, is a never-ending topic. It ends, but the end of correction. Till then, we have to raise the force of bestow above the force of reception, or in other words, faith above reason. We have to try and combine the two, but in a special way each time. According to that, the way we assemble what we receive from the Creator, so it changes our corporeal situation, meaning our reason, and accordingly we have to elevate ourselves to faith above reason, meaning this is how we build the spiritual world on top of the corporeal world. When we finish this work, at every stage, it's revealed. That stage is revealed, and when the stage ends, we don't know. We get it ready-made, and it's not really important for us, because what's important for us is to constantly yearn to be raising faith above reason. So the Creator gives both reason in a way that He constantly seemingly confuses us, brings us down, gives us all kinds of burdenings of the heart, and at the same time we have to relate to it with understanding, with love, and be ready for it, and to try each time to have such a relation toward it that it's as if we are riding the waves with our faith above the reason. Let's see how we do this. Now what I do want to say is that the more we feel that we are going down toward in various states in corporality, we become more worldly, more closer to our ordinary life, worldly life. Don't worry about it. Don't think like you're drifting away from spirituality, but it all depends on the extent to which, on top of the corporeal low states, we can rise above reason. Let's see. Please, exit 15. The purpose of the work is in the literal nature, since in this work he no longer has room to fall down lower down, since he's already placed on the ground. We get such states from above, from the Creator, that we feel that we are seemingly immersed in materialism and corporality, and we have no way to rise above it like the simplest people. And that's a situation. Each time we have to be closer, the situation has to be closer and closer, and this is because he does not need greatness, because to him it is always like something new. That is, he always works as though he had just begun to work. He works in the form of accepting the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. The basis upon which he built the order of the work was in the lowest manner, and all of it was truly above reason. Only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith, literally with no support. Additionally, he accepts this work with great joy, as though he had real knowledge and vision on which to establish the certainty of faith, and to that exact measure of above reason, to that very measure as though he had reason. Hence, if he persists in this way, he can never fall. Rather, he can always be in gladness, by believing that he is serving a great king. The purpose of the work is in the literal and nature, since in this work he no longer has room to fall lower down, since he is already placed on the ground. This is so because he does not need greatness, because to him it is always like something new, meaning that he always works as though he had just begun to work, and he works in the form of accepting the burden of the kingdom of heaven above reason. The basis upon which he built the order of the work was in the lowest manner, and all of it was truly above reason. Only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith, literally with no support. Additionally, he accepts this work with great joy, as though he had real knowledge and vision on which to establish the certainty of faith, to that exact measure of above reason, to that very measure as though he had reason. Hence, if he persists in this way, he can never fall. Rather, he can always be in gladness by believing that he is serving a great king. Okay. Hebrew 10. The matter of above reason is about a transformation in our life, transforming the foundation of our work, and we learn that from not for her sake Lishmer, we come to for her sake Lishmer. So he talks about there being nothing to rely on. So, is it a state that we need to aim towards, or are there exercises we can use to practice to come from Lishma to Lishma work above reason? Exercises you have every moment. You have exercises every moment in life. Your situation changes for sure if you pay attention. And so then you keep yourself in faith above reason, and could in for the force of bestow about the force of deception. We need to work with the intention of having no support at all. Should we work in without any support now, we have to someone is overcoming, and we can't. No, I don't look for any support. I've said I'm happy that I can be attached to the Creator without any proof, without any gifts on his part, without any promises, nothing. I want the opposite, and even more, to have all kinds of doubts and problems and rejections, and despite that I'm attached to him. So what is the help from the friends? So what's the help here? They have to give you examples of how attached they are and how they support you being attached to them, and that only out of the 10. It's called be hanging on nothing, on the empty place, the place of darkness. Above all the darkness you connect, and then your connection only is what becomes the basis. Can I continue, please? May I continue, please? I said yes. What does that mean? What is that feeling? Means I don't want to see it. I don't want to feel. I don't want to get anything other than me turning to him, me having an inclination toward him. There's a feeling. It feels like we have this inner demand of him, but we can't grip what can demand. And what does it mean to be adhered? It's possible only in equivalence of form. Equivalence of form is when you don't demand anything from the Creator. Nothing. Rather, the way he is managing reality in each and every moment. You wish to be adhered to that form. That's it. You don't demand anything but the force of faith, the force of adhesion on top of each and every state. Not that anything will change with the Creator, but the only change will be with you. Okay. PT 25, in the beginning of the excerptum, writes that the purpose of the work is in the literal in nature, and in that work there is no place to fall over, down. What are these terms that he uses? That literal in nature. For us, for the time being, it's like that. Just like I'm receiving my entire form of life, relationship with the family, with work, with the world, with each and everything. Simple, literal, specifically on top of all these revelations of the Creator towards me. I understand it's the Creator revealed. In this way, when I try on top of these revelations of the Creator to be in adhesion, and it doesn't demand anything except to help him be adhered to him the way he is revealed. In other words, what my eyes see in the most basic way, that's the intention. Yes, okay, Hungary. If I understand well before we get to faith above reason, we have to go through this state of darkness or emptiness. Where I disappear, the ego disappears. It's like death for the ego. It is a state which is very difficult to stabilize. We constantly escape from this state. How can we help each other to not to escape, to go through it, go into this darkness? Yeah, before we come to the degree of faith above reason, we don't know what it is. We don't know how to arrange ourselves. We don't discover our arrangement, our orientation towards life relative to everything that's happening. And it takes time. And a person is going through different states, and it might take months, even years. Typically, it takes years. It depends on the coarseness of the will to receive in the soul. If the soul is a great one, it has a great will to receive. Its shattering is deep until a person comes to faith above reason, that period of time lasts longer. But either way, we come to it. And then we begin to work in a clearer way of concealment. Good on a glove. During the lesson, we try to understand what you're saying, what the friends are saying. It's as if we're within reason, as if we want to receive knowledge. How can we be in faith above reason during the lesson and accept the state as the Creator is giving it to me right now, as the state of the good who does good comes from the Creator? This means that I'm in faith above reason. That's it. Florida. Yes, Raf. Thank you. It says only one who is truly naive can be so low as to proceed without any basis on which to establish his faith. This thing about being truly naive, am I understanding that this is how I have to be, like believing everything as long as it's above reason? I don't really understand. Truly naive. What does this mean? Naive means a simple person who believes everything he's told. Like a baby. When you say something to a little child, whatever you may say, he can't discern if it's true or false. You're making fun of him, or you're saying something serious. If you're lying to him or you're telling the truth, he takes it simply. He doesn't have layers to check whether you're right or not. Is it true or not? What are your intentions? Maybe they're opposite of what you're showing him. Little child doesn't have that. This is how it is for a person who is called naive, meaning he accepts life as they are, as they appear. Is the judge, has only what his eyes show him. I understand. So this is, of course, we're talking about spirituality. So I'm a spiritual baby, and I have to go above reason. I have to be truly naive. You can't be naive. Rather, you have to accept it as a naive person, meaning whatever I receive it from the Creator. All of my life, my world, I receive it from the Creator. There's none else besides Him. Now the question is, how do I relate to it? That's it. San Francisco. Raf, how do I relate to the confidence and the calmness that awakens when I begin to feel that there is a Creator who governs this reality so that it will not extinguish my deficiency and the necessity for His help? But you truly adhere to Him, glued to Him. Can you stay glued to Him all the time? If you can do it this way, very well. But if not, then from everything that's being shown to you, must ask Him through the 10. You must ask Him to be in adhesion with Him. It comes from the Creator, the good who does good, and you want to accept it because it comes directly through the 10 to you, and you are in the 10 in adhesion and with the adhesion with the Creator. Then it becomes one. You will discover what's hidden in this, and you'll see, not like I hear now that you think that there's no work here. This simple attitude, simple reaction to everything that's happening, and there's nothing else. I promise you, you will discover infinity, and in it. Good morning, distinguished. Good morning, world. Clear the question from the group. Is it correct to work with the feeling that the friends love me? Because in the group they aspire to get to the Creator, and then to the extent of my yearning, I know I must love them without limitations. I only need to add in that, meaning I check the limit of my love, and I need to keep pushing that boundary. For to understand, to feel, to be in it with your mind and your feeling, meaning to be in adhesion. The chest state in adhesion is like an embryo in his mother's womb. He cancels himself, annul himself, and that's why he's in adhesion with the upper one. That's the safest state. What does it mean to be on the minimal level without understanding without feeling. What is it? If I don't demand anything from the Creator, I am already in adhesion with Him, and other than that, I can be in adhesion with Him to the degree of the catnut or glute, but it's on the condition that I am adhered to the society and I build a clay where the Creator can clothe. I connected to the friends in all kinds of states, situations during the day. I kind of feel all the friends together. I turn to the Creator. Is that regarded as being in good, or do you need something else? You need to feel that you are in cohesion with the friends and with the Creator in a revealed way, where the Creator feels the connection between you. If you don't feel the connection between you, that you're connected, then there's no place, yet there's no field that the Creator has blessed where He can close. And this is regarded as being in a state of cut notes when I don't feel. I wouldn't say it, but let's say it's so. But it's not so. You always try to give definitions. You try to build like an architect. And I'm telling you, on the one hand, it's a good approach. On the other hand, don't be so rash. You don't have discernments. You don't have vessels. I have been happy in the work. Is this not a result of being above reason already? To be happy from the work is possible for a person everywhere in every state. It's the result of the right work. It's indeed the right work that makes him happy, but it doesn't say anything else. I want to understand on what it depends if a person is happy in the work. It depends on the extent to which he's happy and from the right work. You can't take happiness, gladness as a sign that you certainly did something good. It could be a lie. 6. I wanted to ask, he writes that the basis on which he built the order of the work was in the lowest form, and then he was entirely above reason. So I want to ask, what is this loneliness, loneliness that allows you to build there above reason, when a person doesn't demand any more, only that he will have the power of faith adhesion in the state that comes to him? Should their response be for their reaction be for the current moment? What is regarded as an act of going above reason for a person when he receives what he deserves from the Creator is good, who does good, and he demands nothing else except for accepting this state correctly. Tear. But I notice that on one hand, you really want to be in this to see it as the girl who does good. On the other hand, you feel the resistance that you disagree with what he's given you. No, it's okay. Is this still regarded as going above reason because you don't totally agree with it? No, you are checking it. It doesn't mean that you're already in a state of above reason. So in above reason you agree with him wholeheartedly, then more than 100%. You don't want to replace this state with anything else, only to increase more and more the power of faith. So with what is your calculation in that state opposite? What are you really calculating? Because it's not on the desire, because your desire is suffering. So what's the place that enjoys having the opportunity to go above reason? Why is the desire suffering? You don't feel this suffering. How do you not feel this suffering? The desire is experiencing something, but above reason you want to be adhered, attached. You want to see him as good, who does good. So it means that you're not above reason if you're suffering. So in above reason the desire enjoys the situation. It enjoys, but not you don't enjoy from a full desire, but you enjoy from being above the desire. All the emptiness that you discover in the desire is helping you to be above the desire with the power of faith. The power of faith can be only on the condition that you are not with fulfillment in your desire, and later the fulfillment comes to your desire and you need to play with it as if it's not fulfillment, as if you are receiving from the host, and you eat your eating and you're enjoying, but it's not filling your true vessels, because your true vessels have become vessels of bestow. So what is regarded as a feeling? The feeling that you are filling the host. Okay, Moscow 7. We are saying today that we have to be in adhesion in Vic with the friends. We have to be a clear vessel for the light, and then we'll feel that this clay is filled by the Creator and we are in. The question is this a clear feeling? Meaning I won't be able to pretend like I'm in with the Creator. If you'll be connected to the 10 and from within the 10 in general, you will try to come close to the Creator. I'm certain you will not make any mistakes. You say, how can we check that the 10 is advancing in faith above reason? When they don't demand any change to their state, Certainly, they don't resist for any changes like that from above, but from themselves. They don't demand any change except for connection between them and adhesion with the Creator. Slowly hang on. There are things we need to scrutinize in the essence, in the sense, in the changing states. We need to learn all those changes. We need to learn being naive. Does that mean being gullible? It says you should be naive with the Lord your God. Again, it's like a baby. When you tell him something, he takes it as truth. Whatever you receive from the Creator at each and every moment is the truth, and you are receiving it from the Creator, and you don't want to change it. You don't want to change it. You want only to change your attitude towards it. Ask another question of, I have constant resistance to saying things. When people tell me things, my ego immediately jumps and objects to it. Will this objection ever go away, or will it always stay with me? When you correct your vessel, it will pass for now. It will only grow. Thank you very much. Good morning, love. You said took that. The desire remains empty, and that something else that I'm asking about becomes filled with being in faith above reason. What is that something else? Is there another authority there? God forbid. I don't understand. Who enjoys the state of being in faith above reason? No one. Thank you. I'm free. Hello. I wanted to ask, where's the upper and lower boundaries of simple faith? I don't even know how to say it. What is an upper boundary? A lower boundary for literal. Through the lower boundary, we stand on the ground, and on the upper boundary through we come out to a higher level. Depends on our attitude, not that there's something in the text. There's nothing in those texts except for your attitude, and according to how you take you can advance. One day, during the lesson, I feel a great desire, through the friends that the questions that the friends are asking, to let go of my intellect. But I also feel that I stop asking for the friends in the 10. Is this correct? And you? Is it possible to keep this separation in the intellects, and on one hand not take the lesson intellectually, and on the other hand to constantly ask for the 10 as if everything depends on going through the 10? You speak correctly. Both of those things will be clarified. You said two things, and you said them correctly. Okay, let's move forward. The next excerpt, number 17, Abash says, a person must take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven on the lowest quality, and say about it that to him even that state the lowest that can be, meaning one that is entirely above reason, when he has no support from the mind or from the feeling thing, so he can build its foundations on it, and at that time he is seemingly standing between heaven and earth and has no support. For then everything is above reason. Then a person says that the Creator sent him that state where he is in utter loneliness, since the Creator wants him to take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven in this manner of loneliness. At that time, because he believes above reason, he takes upon himself that the situation he is in now comes to him from the Creator, meaning that the Creator wants him to see the lowest possible state that can be in the world, and yet he must say that he believes in the Creator in all manners. This is considered that he has made an unconditional surrender. Again, except 17, Habrash says, a person must take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven on the lowest quality, and say about it that to him even that state the lowest that can be, meaning one that is entirely above reason, when he has no support from the mind or the feeling, so he can build its foundations on it, and at that time he's seemingly standing between heaven and earth and has no support. For then everything is above reason. Then a person says that the Creator sent him the state where he is in utter loneliness, since the Creator wants him to take upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven in this manner of loneliness. At that time, because he believes above reason, he takes upon himself that the situation he is in now comes to him from the Creator, meaning that the Creator wants him to see the lowest possible state that can be in the world, and yet he must say that he believes in the Creator in all manners. This is considered that he has made an unconditional surrender. The state is relatively clear, where we need to accept that everything is coming from Creator only, and from no one else. Accept it as good who does good, although we don't feel it in our vessels. To understand that all of our vessels are all the corrections are in our vessels in us, and we shouldn't wait for something else to come from the Creator. Rather, from the Creator various changes will come, but only in the condition that we correct our attitude to everything we feel is good or does good. Everything that comes to us comes, so we will change, that's it. That's why it's called unconditional surrender. Since whatever you receive from the Creator, it's all good who does good. It's not that I need to stay like that, as religious people say. Whether I need to correct myself to change myself. This is the difference between the wisdom of all the other religions and belief systems. It's that I need to change a person, and not that I'm looking for some ways to do a favour to the Creator to buy off so you'll do good things to me. Rather, I'm saying that everything I have depends on me and my vessels of reception. I feel an attitude of good. Who does good towards me? Therefore, when He's revealed, would be an even greater good and benevolent. I feel I can be more calm, and I can need to change myself even more until I accept all of His attitude towards me as good who does good. That's how it is. That's how it works. So we are not expecting any changes from above. Rather, all the changes we expect them to come as forces of nature. The correct is from above down, but the corrections are actually down below. I don't expect the Creator to change. I'm going to wait for it. I demand of Him my correction, and that's how we get to the correct state. Tito, dear, I'm asking for a friend. How feel? I understand that I'm approaching the Creator with the faith above reason. What kind of condition is this? It's a state where I justify Him 100% in each and every state. Whatever is happening to me, and the Creator typically then increases His pressure on me, and I try constantly to accept these things as coming from there, besides Him, and that's how I grow my power of faith above all the seemingly bad things that appear, because the broken vessel that is revealed more, and I place on top of it my attitude is towards the good who does good, and there's none else besides Him, meaning there's none else besides Him all around the world, except for one thing, one force, which is good who does good. Then I look at everyone, all the people, what's happening, all the forms that nature on the still, vegetative, animate, and speaking degrees is revealed to me. I see those things all together as the good who does good. That's it. And that's how we come to. But is it possible that the 10 can go on a hunting expedition for these deficiencies and find them before the Creator surprises us with them? No, we shouldn't look for deficiencies outside of us. We should look for deficiencies only in the connection between us. This is the meaning of the old man who is looking for what he had lost. What he lost from his mind, from his feeling, from experience. Old person is someone who acquired wisdom. He's called old, and he's looking for connection with the friend so that his vessel will be ready even before the illumination comes from a higher degree. This is the meaning that of I awaken the dawn. I'm only looking for that connection with the friends after I discover something's broken there. So the question is, how can I search for it if I don't see anything broken yet? How can I search for it before we discover something broken? It's certain that there's always room to add in love, in connection between the friends. That's why we are in this world. We can always add through very simple acts of this world, cause spiritual change. You can influence, try to invest in dissemination. It's connection with the whole Kli to bestow contentment to the Creator, to advertise His great name, and to invest in connection between the friends in order to prepare your inner vessel, and that's how you will advance. Okay, Seth, on what depends on person to change himself on his relationships with a group. We are always in a split, me and the group. Why me and the group? Me and the Creator. I don't understand this group in between. It's like a disturbance that comes and I can't get along with it. How can I push it away? Me and the Creator, that's clear. Don't understand that precisely in order to rise from reason, from knowledge to above reason, we need me and the group and the Creator, because otherwise I won't have the right spiritual connection with Him. Now we will move on to a summary of the lesson in the 10. So let's summarize the lesson, please. We have to work on connection with the Creator above all the states that appear. We can do that only thanks to connection with a group that stabilize that in the person gives him the greatness for that and great gratitude to have this place for labor. We have gathered here specifically in order to reach this state, and the work between us is the way towards them. The last sentence, me, the group, and the Creator kind of reminds us of last lesson as well from yesterday. That's how we have to organize our work. I heard from Root that the whole matter of the filling is not to fill myself, but I should feel that I'm filling the host, that we're serving the King, and the more we will be attentive towards each other in the tent and out of the 10, we will try to get closer to the Creator, then for sure we will not be wrong. We heard that I want to cling to the Creator without presence, without anything, just to cling to Him. And another thing, connection between us is based on adhesion with the Creator. That we need to reach faith above reason, and we can reach it only through the friends. We need to adhere to them all the time and raise the prayer to the Creator. Yes, first of all, gratitude that we are sitting together and discussing and thinking and reading excerpts and aiming to think about such a lofty thing as faith above reason. It is not taken for granted at all, and it's such a profound matter, as we heard from Rob. It's also endless. Probably ends at the final correction, and throughout the whole lesson, Ral emphasized how much a person doesn't demand anything from the Creator but adhering to Him. How much the only thing we need to change is our relation, our attitude. The Creator is good that does good that we at the moment perhaps don't feel Him yet, or we feel Him partially as good. That does good, and the only thing we ask for is to change our attitude. And towards the end of the lesson, Rab also made the discernment that he talks about. It a lot the difference between religions and faiths and the wisdom of Kabbalah, and in the wisdom of Kabbalah I ask to change, I have to change, I have to replace my observation point, my attitude, my intention, and not the Creator. The Creator is good that does good at all times. Clearly, these are things we have to work on a lot and strengthen each other so that we're able to think of them. But it's a great privilege that we're talking about it and practicing it. Writes, to us the adhesion with the Creator is that I don't want to feel, I don't want to see, I don't want to receive anything besides the fact that on my side there will be an appeal towards Him, a tendency towards Him, and I'll add that. Indeed, in relation to these sources, what does it mean, the sources? It's our teachers who are holding this work that is outside of one's body. All of our teachers and are trying to insert this Torah, this teaching in us, and we need to make a common effort as much as possible to take on this perception, take on these discernments. This is a place to work. It's a very blessed place of work, a place of work where a person does not have any support within himself to even contain this place of work. So again, we have to exert in common gratitude and establish an environment that wants to absorb it into it. It gives greatness to absorb into it this high work. Yes, we were privileged to discuss such a lawful matter. Faith above reason is directly towards spirituality, and we heard that what's up to us now is really to try and follow the advice of Rob and realize it. What are all the states that come to the person? We just have to justify all those states and increase the power of faith between us. We also heard that unconditional submission, like being in a womb, it's just complete adhesion. Hello friends, we are together now, building a spiritual environment, meaning we together are building the spiritual society. And as we said last week, in every Saturday, this part of the lesson together, we will convene for a mutual discussion between us about topics that are relevant and social. We want to build together, form together, and direct ourselves in the right way. We want to discuss. Today the topic is towards the new degree of connection in the Congress, meaning we want to begin a mutual preparation for the Congress. In our last Congress, whose emphasis was on local gatherings, we were connected together in a single prayer. That was our topic. In the coming Congress in February, in 3 months from now, it's a global convention whose centre is here in Israel, and hundreds of friends, men and women, will be coming here. Of course, there will be big gatherings around the world as well, and we will continue to engage in the connection between us and with the upper one. But unlike the previous Congress, now our society is entering a time or process, a very special era of partnership and sharing and rebuilding ourselves and building the Congress, the preparation for the Congress itself. We would like to do that together as a single, collective process. It's important for us to emphasize that the actual sharing between us, discussion and connection between us, that itself is a spiritual action. The fact that we engage in that will give us the common mind and what we want to do in the next step. We'll try to hear the Creator's direction to us together. That's why we dedicate part of the lesson to this. It's not that we're taken from the lesson. That is our lesson. This is our connection. Also, in the recorded lessons we heard this week and the live lessons we get a whole host of discernments, and also from the talks on the path, the advice that we hear from Rav in those talks in the last few weeks, and also we hear how Rav is directing us to the next level of connection in our Congress, and we are one common vessel. So we would like each one of the friends now, each of the tens now, all of us to scrutinize between us, within us, and then in an assembly as well what are the urgent topics that we as a single global group feel that we have to delve into, because there are varied directions about the topic of the Congress. Anyone we can ask will have an idea about how to lead the Congress, and it's a good thing and it's blessed and it points to a healthy society, but ultimately we want to achieve something mutual. So let's begin with the first open question we'll discuss now in the 10. What do you think is the most central, most important thing for our world society to engage in the coming 3 months, meaning the preparation, and as a result, what do we think should be the theme of the Congress? So again, what is the central thing that is most important that our world society should engage in the coming 3 months, and what do you think should be the topic of the coming Congress in February? Go ahead. Quite a question. What's the most important thing that our society should engage in the coming 3 months, and as a result of that, the theme of the Congress in February, I feel that we are in the opening of a new degree, that there is a reason for all of this, and I think that our new degree is in that we as a group that until now received support and tight care by the Kabbalist, at least together our society is entering a degree where it needs to manage itself independently with a new wash, a new head, in a form of a group of friends or management that are leading the society. And I think that we have to understand, how do we unite around this head, this as a society? How do we give strength to this head, and as a result of that to the whole society? And we need to learn how this new form will truly be like a springboard to our new state, to the place that we have to grow into. I don't know what needs to be the topic. I only know that we have our ongoing topic, which is our connection, and it takes on various shapes and facets, and that's another thing. So now I think we're standing at a junction, and we're not sure what it needs to be, but we do know it needs to be something new. Together, I was thinking that actually the topic of the Congress can be our inner incorporation. How do we create a field specifically from the states that we go through in our society? Of course, I agree with the matter of faith in one's love that we follow Drar. Now we have management, which are our friends, our head, and how do we give the greatness there? We trust and justify this path together. Congress of prayer, how to build a prayer, how to prepare a prayer, the prayer before prayer, and what to put the emphasis on thinking of the friends when we pray. Now it seems like we're moving towards some next phase. We heard from Rob that it's very possible that in the World Congress, we'll discuss the connection between the 10. That was a topic. Rar mentioned it a few times. Now there's another thing. We are inviting friends to come here to Israel. So this has to be a truly global convention physically, so that as many friends as possible will come here to create something powerful. Indeed, we heard about this topic, which is new to our ears. The work between the tens, the connection between the tens. So for sure this is something that we need to prepare for and to scrutinize. And also, I join what you mentioned, that what do we have? How many topics do we have? We have one topic, which is connection, and it was interesting to hear that in one of the conversations with Rav, when the friends talked to Rav, there was a topic, but Rav said from a few different angles the topic is connection, what else? We have to engage, and so it's really nice that around this our work needs to be renewed and to be based each time on a new degree of connection, and again now it's taking on a very relevant form because our whole organisation structure is changing, and this certainly shakes the ranks, and it brings us to a need to build a new degree of connection to prepare for it, to scrutinise it and to unite around it, find a way to make decisions together. I think that the topic that's always facing us is our root. Our root is the type of connection that takes on a different shape each time, and also we touch on it from many directions, but our V, which is supporting the friends and thinking about how the friends will receive confidence and will receive some revelation from the creator that behind the friend stands, the creator. This is something very important that is always on the agenda. Reject us how we take decisions together, and indeed these can be a relevant topic. How do we take decisions together? How do we reach the resolution of problems specifically from the connection, from the collective announcement? Rob mentioned it in one of the lessons. How do we increase this area? How do we build it in the centre of the centre of the circle? We talk a lot about the element, and I always think, how are we going to connect between the tens? What needs to be done? Meaning something needs to happen to us in the 10. We'll continue to work in the 10, but together we need to get closer to other 10s. It's not just one 10, it's generally the great group, and to try to do some mutual work there. In the end of the last lesson, we heard that we always have to add in love of friends to expand that topic. And so probably we need to put emphasis on love of friends, writes the realization of the connection between us in that time, and from that to strengthen the whole world. Flee the topic of the Congress, I don't know, but it seems to me that we are trying to forcefully to pull in the direction of connection between the tens. He also adds, apparently heard parabos seems to be like a good idea for the topic of the Congress. I also heard paros, and I trust our dear friend who is a veteran friend who is emphasizing the topic of her boot. In fact, I think that every topic that we choose, where do these topics come from? These are foundations of our work. It's impossible to miss here. We choose some foundation in the work, and around it we advance. Around it we establish our entrance to a new degree. So what's most important for me is that it won't be plastic. Wedge said something important here that we have at the entrance to that new degree of how do we take decisions together at the entrance to the new degree. There is a new form of our organisation. We also need to talk about that. But of course, the topic around which we are discussing should be some foundation in work, for example paros. So how root manifested in the new changing state that we're now going through, when we need to take decisions together, when we have a new common row, and to scrutinise this entrance in this. Okay, we must not forget it's a physical congress. People come from all over the world, and this happens once a year. And recently with CO and so on, we just had it once since then. So we also have to think about how to use this relatively new states, where people come from all over the world, how to radiate to the whole world our values through the friends that will come to the Congress. Okay, we want to hear the friends and grow precisely from this connection. It feels to me like we simply need to enlarge this point of Israel within us, to crown it. And when the friends talked about our root, what came up to me is the matter of our covenant. This covenant of salt that we have to keep and enlarge, and it's all within the circle, from my individual tent to the other TS to the rest of humanity. This should be a really great event. This is a global congress. We invite our friends from all around the world to come here, and so here there has to be some major force, and we need to take advantage of this in the right way. What do we need to do first? Trust that without the upper force we can't. So this event where all of the neighbour group is here in VAR, in Israel plus the creator of the world, that should create a massive wave across the world, some completely different picture, right to the topic of the Congress. I don't know if don't have time for it, but I'll say I'm very excited to hear my friends, and it feels like everything the friends bring up is truly worthy to get into it full force as a group. All right, friends, there's joy that the society awakens We've even added 2 more minutes 'cause we saw that friends need more time to talk. Seems like there's a lot for us to discuss. And I will continue. We will listen to a talk on the path about the role of society in man's entering to spirituality. How does the society accept and influence him, and what really allows him to enter spirituality? It's a short conversation we had yesterday. You'll notice there's a lot of noise. It was in the beach, and so it's just the wind. Sorry for that. We didn't yet have time to. It was just yesterday. So please, let's connect with this spirit and watch. Listen, what are the indications that a person is ready for a route, an inner feeling towards attaining the goal? For that he has to have the friend. And why? If the society will not want, he'll never be able to enter spirituality. How will he come to spirituality on his own, testifying over him? What does the society do that brings a person into spirituality? That he will decide. That's what you mean. The person has to decide that he wants to enter spirituality, but eventually the entrance happens through the society. The society makes him enter. Yes, so that's what I'm asking about. What does the society do so that it ushers a person into spirituality, that the society wants to take him in, like that it wants to take him in? What is this action of accepting the person in spirituality? That everyone's thinking about him, and that has an influence. The whole weight is on the person himself or on the society. The society must decide that it needs the person, and if the society doesn't decide that, then it depends on the person. Can the person enter spirituality by his own forces? If he finds the society that needs him, then with its help he enters. So it turns out that eventually the exertion of the person is only to find the society and enter into it. Exertion is only there. All of his development. It doesn't depend on him at all. It's only the desire of the society that will determine how much he'll develop. Yes, very special. I mean, how can you convince the society that you're worthy of it? That all depends on the person. Seems like the society has to keep itself and work internally in order to express its equivalence with the light, MHM, to show how great it is to do work. Outwardly to show how strong it is, how great it is, how beautiful it is, how much it already has something. So that someone who will come from the outside, if a person comes, if he'll draw closer, he'll be drawn to it like a magnet, that he will also want to be a part of this thing that he feels as powerful. But in order for it to be felt as powerful, of course, it requires that in the inner work, it also has to be externalized. It has to be shown outwardly towards the new people. Yes, do you think we're doing enough of that in our society? This externalizing, working outwardly. Well, it depends how each one feels. To what extent a person feels that his entry to spirituality depends on the acceptance of society. Yes, but here we're talking about several kinds of people, from friends of students, because let's say that we feel we know and feel that we have a very strong and powerful and a very high quality society, very purposeful. So it's not so clear to me. I can't quite see to what extent this is externalized. So that somebody who today comes closer and starts to study his first lessons in the wisdom of Kabbalah, to what extent he sees something so that he will say, I want to be with such people. I want to be like them in my feeling. This is all kind of folded within. It's inside. Yes, it's all very enclosed. That's what I'm asking about. If you think this is visible enough, is externalized sufficiently so that someone who is searching will come and will be drawn to it. It all depends on society. That's true. If the society awakens within it this conversation, then it has an effect on the surroundings and grabs the people, captures the people on the same wavelength, and then they're drawn. What I hear from Ilan is that society over the years is advancing. He becomes more internal, more introvert. Maybe a person understand that this is his inner world that in which he's working. Whereas before maybe you were demonstrating it more outwardly, even in deeds. But now a person already lives within himself. He doesn't need more now, right? So the question is it enough that we have to work on demonstrating it, Or is it enough that we're advancing and we have a more inner connection? It's an inner connection inside society that to the extent that it wants to expand itself. What wavelength does this 10 generate within it that it wants the acceptance of new friends at this wavelength? How does it work? Let's say even on the 10 around them. When a 10 makes an effort to connect, it generates a certain spiritual frequency. Yeah, how does it affect the other 10s in the society? That's already through the creator to the surrounding light, and we need to reach a common frequency between all the 10. No, each 10 has its own frequency. Yes. So what is common among all the 10s? What is to that point the common point? To the extent that the creator wants them. What does it mean the creator wants them? Why wouldn't he want them? That's the creator's goal. To unify these people, bring them closer to the goal. So it's a matter of to what extent the creator wants it. On what does it depend? This measure that he will want us or he will not want us. How much we want him to want us. So we want that the creator will want us. We also want to awaken a conversation in every 10 and together all the 10s in the society. We hear how much the connection and dependency of every friend on his tent keeps increasing. We, in our understanding, and we can also see there's a connection between the 10s. We heard many things about the work inside of the tent, and recently we also heard quite a bit about the connection between the 10s in different contexts. Are we ready for it? We're not ready for it. Partially ready. Some of the time we are, some of the time we're not. And we also want to scrutinize this a little bit. And for that purpose, we will hear another excerpt from a conversation that engaged in this topic, the connection between the TS. Later on, we would like to hear all the ideas that came up in the previous discussion and in this discussion in the Platinum. So let's hear clip number 1, please. Bobby said that we lack connection between the 10s. What is the connection between the 10s that we lack? We always focus on connection inside the 10s. So where is the connection that is between 10s that we lack? The connection between the 10s should be like between people. Each one shall help his friend in order to help. In order for one thing to help another, we need an upper force, the creator that we pray to him. He's through us, or maybe not even through us. It doesn't matter. He takes care of another 10. This is what we can do. And as it is written, one who prays for his friend is rewarded first. So we too, when we ask in such a way for the creator to take care of somebody, that we actually will feel how much it works on us. So we would like to discuss this topic a bit. What is considered for us connection between 10s? Why would we need such connection? What is that spiritual? How does that spiritual degree manifest? Again, workshop. What do we consider connection between 10s? Why do we need such a connection especially now? And how does the spiritual degree manifest? This whole conic of connection between the 10s. I heard the tribe yesterday said that we're not ready yet, and we still need to develop the connection in the tent. But maybe the key to what we heard in the clip now is that one who prays for his friend is rewarded first. So, the moment that we ask for the friends or for some 10 for another 10, that seemingly the connection begins to form. Yes, there were many conversations with Rob recently, and still this topic is not fully clear. I think we need to keep scrutinizing it, and now too, Rob said it's a connection like between people. That also I remember that in one of the conversations he said that it's like inner light and surrounding light, that inside the 10 it's something more inner, and between the 10s it is an influence of the surrounding, and you can't do without both of these. We need the more inner work between us and also being in society. Essentially, like Rob just said, that the society needs to want the person, and similarly the 10s should want each other. From the things that I heard from Raf, there are many laws that resemble very much the connection in the 10. Currently, we also have to anal before another 10 and become incorporated with it and build the connection. It all follows the spiritual laws of Arsh. It also requires from us to become one internally and to approach a hand that is outside of us with such a relation, that the fact that we are as one man in one connection we turn to another 10, and we become incorporated with it. We get a deficiency from them. We pray for them. It means to expand the operations of the tent to include other friends. Well, I'm also thinking about this direction that the more the 10 connects inside of it, it begins to care about other 10s and our world clee. And there was a beautiful example. Yesterday, friends from Moscow 7 made a connection there between them, and I was just thinking that they could just stay with that. But they produced a video clip for the whole world clee to inspire and to give everyone strength from their connection, where they came to unite in one place. So that's the direction. Always think outside the 10 how much we can give strength, and like friend said, it's similar to how the friend should always think of other friends for them, and then he's awarded first. So probably the same for the 10. It's a stage where we should probably start caring more and more for other 10s. Yes, there are a few questions in this discussion. We need a definition of what is the connection between the pens. Why is it required? Well, for sure it is required, because this is how we enlarge the vessel. But in what form, and how should it be? So we never had such a thing before in the whole of history. There was never a connection between the tents. So we are creating this degree. We have to create this new reality. And here we have to think about how do we do it, and what are we basing ourselves on in order to create this. I think that all of us have some mutual feeling that this topic hasn't yet been scrutinized within us. And it's a task. It's a challenge that we have to crack, and I think the right way is just to keep trying and doing all kinds of actions between the 10s, and understanding that some of the actions won't be correct, so to speak, but it's our learning curve to understand what is correct ultimately. I think that there's really two levels when we talk about connection between 10s. One is like individuals connecting to other individuals, but there's another level which is a bit more qualitative, where it's really felt that it's imperceptible, and that's mainly what we have to learn. I can't yet say exactly what this means, but we can feel that the basis of it is that a 10 unites into one, that a 10 has an inner spiritual connection, and then it is able to connect with other such spiritual parts that have united within themselves. And then maybe there is a new kind of incorporation. There is a connection of higher quality between the 10s. There is the ability to work in a different way, but it requires to study, and see what will develop, what will become revealed. We need to become very flexible, because the Kabbalist didn't write about it for us in words so that we can understand how to do it, but only in a general way. So we will try. We will pray, and the Creator will help. Each 10 can perhaps complement and add to another 10, like we see how friends in a 10, each one is really special, and he complements the others. So perhaps the 10s as well each has the opportunity to complete and increase the cleave for other 10s. Now we don't know how to do that. Well, but I guess the system is built from growing it until we can encompass the entire great collective soul. Okay friends, so now we would like to have a plenum between us. We want to hear you about both questions that we discussed. Now we would like to hear what, in your opinion, what came up in 10s, or even an individual view. If you think you want to share that, what's the main thing that is important for us as a society or as a worldly that we should engage in? What is the topic we should engage in the upcoming 3 months preparation for the Congress, and as a result, or even unrelated, what should be the main topic of the Congress? And also, do we even need a special process of connection and between the 10s? Is it something that's necessary for us? If so, how do you see it? And maybe other ideas that came up. So any friend who wants to share, this is the time, and all over the world, of course, also. Even please. Now it's a problem that any topic in Kabbalah is most important. It's all inclusive, and it's all everything's in. It's so what I heard in my 10, that the power of faith could be a very good topic, and also me, the group, and the Creator, which is a kind of a broader topic that includes the connection between 10s. There's really everything in it, me, the group, and the Creator. And also I heard about a tower floating in the air. That's a bit more fantastical, but what else I recommend is that perhaps this Congress will be special in that there is no theme, and we will have to reveal the theme during the Congress, and our whole preparation for the Congress will be kind of broad, so that in the Congress we will make an effort to reveal what the Creator decided for us now, as the main thing that the Creator will decide on the topic. Thank you. Hello friends. Yes, we've agreed that we need to work on the connection. We have to keep working on the connection, and the topic for the Congress, in our opinion, should be faith above reason. Thank you. Key of 1. If we are talking about the connection between tins as it then the topic of our can't hear well, our root I think is the most important topic. Thanks USA Midwest. Morning friends. Yeah, we had a lot of scrutinies around what the topic should be for the up and coming Congress. We came to a final thought that with so many changes that's taking place in the new right now, maybe we should look at for the up and coming Congress, how are we going to build our future society, or building the future society, meaning that in the Congress we're focused on how to do that collectively as a world. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, when you first asked the question, the Congress theme, we didn't have a clue. But as we discussed, we started better understanding what it should be, and we understood that we should engage in strengthening the principles of spiritual work in the group through Introduction to Test. We started studying Introduction to Test. We can turn that to something serious and review all the principles that Islam details there on how to reach spiritual attainment and how it relates to connection between the tens. There's a feeling that we look at a 10 as a means for correction of man, and it's insufficient. The 10 is a device for the correction of the soul, connecting the soul of admission as a vessel of the soul. So, everything connects together, that we should stop looking at the 10 as in my individual correction, but rather through the 10 we correct the entire vessel of, and bring the Creator true contentment. Yes, we talked about it. And if we're talking about, in the Congress, about the connection between the tens, in order for us to have a connection between the tens, Rob said, I heard him talk about it 2 days ago in this conversation on the path. He said, or maybe it was in the lesson, that we need to also to have a connection in the mind and in the heart. There needs to be a connection between the friends in mind and heart in order to work in the tens. And if so, if we're talking about a Congress of the tens, then we came to the decision that the topic should be either spiritual birth or entrance, entering spirituality, or the connection between us and the Creator. We already need to feel each other in the Congress so that we can work with the tense. As Rob says, it requires a feeling in a ten so that you can work with other tens. Thank you. Yes, in our 10 there were several attempts to work with other tens. Of course, whenever we heard Rav saying such things, for example, in the Congresses, we sat next to other tens, or in other opportunities for connection and meals, we discover there isn't that much deficiency to connect between one tent to another, as if the tens are a bit closed in themselves. Again, it's all under Ra's direction. There's a feeling like Rob is now directing us to our next degree, that if Ari said that in the coming Congress, we should be connecting between us as tens or as a single 10, then this is something we should start searching for the deficiency for it. And it's good that you bring it up. It seems like, on the face of it, there's no deficiency, and we just have to find it and see how to connect. For instance, there was an idea that just like we got connected as tens like 8-10 years ago, we were just told here's the list of people you're with. So similarly, there can be a direction from above. You two tens are together now, so it won't be based on some ego decision or will to receive. Just to start, try to inspire each other gently and begin to start searching for this deficiency. Thank you. We had 2 ideas. One is about strengthening the spirit of the society between the tents in such a way that our purpose as a society is to support our connection in the tent. So, it could be through sharing all kinds of different organizations or structures that every 10 does, and up to a level of an act. So, there won't be states of inequality in the society between the tens, but to create a state that all the tens are equally strong, raise all the tens to a similar level of equality. And another idea We have the idea, told us about the future of us. We don't have a spiritual leader in the future, and he told us about the necessity that friends come together and create leadership for us. And so we could have the topic at the canons of spiritual leadership, and how we going to assemble this leadership, the collective wisdom of the whole world. How can it support that? We have spiritual leadership. Thank you. I think we have to dive deeper to expand the circle of the 10 and set an example for everyone. Thank you. Turkey 7, please. Thanks, friends. I will talk about how can we be example the other 10s, and how can we work together, because we always study about one individual how work to in the tent, but we can't know how can we work together all of teacher covering live or workshops. We don't know, maybe we try to do this for this Congress, and maybe we will be the example to other TS. We do this, we don't know, we try to be example. Maybe our Congress topies will be this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Women have won. Thank you very much about the connection between the 10s. We agreed about the idea of sharing things between the 10s, even about frameworks, and we want to awaken the mutual prayer by thinking the one, thinking about the other, and the topic of the Congress. Continuing what Midwest said, building the future society, and we thought we should strengthen the 3 elements of wrapped society and books. Thank you. Women Mu 167. We also spoke to the friends on connection between the 10s. We think it's a very important matter. We also had a successful experience where our 10 met with other Mark 10s twice. The friends were very happy, and so we assert that we should develop this more, and in the February Congress we should develop in this direction. We'd like to offer that 2 themes for the Congress. In Israel, we talked about it between us. The first will be together on the path and together with the friends. Thanks, Cap. You too. Thank you, world. Ergo recently posted a YouTube video on how to cross the Maxam. It is my sincere desire that that be the theme of the Congress, how to cross the Nats. Thank you to the also the 3 months we have left, and the topic of the Congress I would choose as strengthen the connection on all levels between the management and the group and the Israeli groups and the world groups, and so that the blood will flow. We'll care about everything top down and bottom up, seeing how people live, and like for instance friends went to Lithuania and gathered with more people. It's a blessing, and that will strengthen both heart and mind, and so something in this direction I would choose. It's important to us now, especially as Rav is less with us physically, and I think that will give strength to everyone. We actually talked less about the topic, more about the form. Maybe we should look together at the form of our congresses. There is not only the format and the structure of the Congress, but how we conduct ourselves in the Congress. You come here, many people from the whole world, for 3 days together. How do we take advantage of the time, especially with this change that RA is not physically as close to us? Do we try to keep the converses in the same form? We're familiar with lessons, questions, active on a break, or maybe we want to reach a completely new format, and that's something that will be more suitable for the place we're heading towards. Maybe one of the ways to do it is some connection between the tents, because we didn't quite agree on that. Also, like friends said, there are aspects this way, that way, but in the end we have to move in the same direction. So maybe use the connection between the hands as a way to scrutinize the form that we want to reach, and also love, rich love between before the Congress. Oh, maybe the Desert Congress. Thank you, friends. We spoke about our vote, but the feeling that we are getting comfortable in our 10 and forgetting about who is behind the scene, that moving the whole society, the creator. So the feeling, the connecting between the 10 will help us bring the creator back into the equation, and really asking for the help to integrate and become a true society worthwhile for this path to the thank you. 2 topics, maybe it's actually 2 different congresses. One is our whole progress is through the connection between us, and building the connection between us and the equations for that to the laws of Rabash and the group, and so on Congress. I would do on that in a very serious way, as well as the preparation and additional Congress. We now hear a lot in the lessons about Israel, the light and the creator are one. Connection between work in the group and me the group and the creator how to connect these things. These are two congresses. Maybe the laws of Rush is more suitable for the congress that will happen in tens. Perhaps I'm not sure, and about the connection between the tens, about all regarding all the directions I heard from Ra before until we become one in the 10. There's really no reason to talk about the connection between tents. Maybe some exercises to strengthen the connection inside the tent. Perhaps I heard in the congress from Gilad that there were months in the recent year when Ral talked a lot about the contact of a person with the creator, and then we had a congress about in one prayer the previous congress where we entered into this inner stream of our ongoing prayer all the time. And then Gad said that maybe we need to dive deeper into it, take advantage of the time that Ra is with us, and learn more. Like Yossi said, learn more and more to go deeper into this lane of the spiritual deficiency, the spiritual passion. So from that I'm suggesting our topic for the congress, which is contact with the creator. All right friends, so that's the end for this part. We'll continue to scrutinize it, and we just started. We are just beginning. If there's more ideas and suggestions about content format, preparation, anything, send us. That's two more things that we're going to integrate into this weekly session that we will now have together, building spiritual society around all globally. I will also give updates, ongoing updates, so everyone is in sync, and questions if there are questions to the management on any topic. So first we will update what we discussed this week in the management. First of all, we started discussing what's the right way to share. Just like today, we saw we have many topics. We heard from Rob that we need to work in partnership between us, and we saw there's different forms of partnership and sharing. There's an update. There's something more like a workshop and a general assembly. There's a survey that we can do. There's many different ways, but we're really starting to discuss and look for the right way for us as a society to all feel involved and partners in building our society. Secondly, part of the meetings that the management is having these days almost with every factor in our society in order to hear the friends directly. We also set a meeting with the women of that's in 3 weeks. It'll be a virtual meeting where we can hear how else we can move our society forward, and later on it'll be also with the community. And this is how we continue with everyone, with anyone possible. We also decided at our discipline committee we will rotate the friends there. It's not great for France to be there all the time, and also not for the society. So everyone's in a while we rotate the friends there. There's other things we will give more updates, and also what we're doing now. If you have suggestions for topics you think we should discuss, please go ahead and share with us. It's one of the deficiencies that came up in recent conversations, and not just recently. Quite a few friends said that we want to have a more active social committee, mainly in, but not only there. We'll discuss that next Sunday on the 16th at 6:30 p.m. We'll have a meeting in VAR, and we will discuss this topic. We'll present what we have is the awakening committee we have now for the men and for the women. We'll also explain how it happens in the world and scrutinize the need for a social committee. What exactly is needed? Is it needed? And if so, what space should it fill? So we will do all of that in the next Sunday evening. Yes, I want to give an update about a few changes that we've made in our technology systems, and I don't see such a group in the broadcast right now, but if you paid attention recently in the RBUC system, there's been a change that the group appears in a center and around them the individuals connected. So if you see such a group in the broadcast, so if you see it now, anyone who's there, please show it so the friends can see what we mean. Until today everything was in equal sizes. And then if you had a group of people sitting together, they were like a square of an individual, and it was a proportion that didn't make sense. Now, you can see no is an example. So any group now that gathers have the same ability to be connected to the system in this format. You have to define the setting as a group in the system so that you're viewed that way. Another thing, broadcast without focus group. We had a limitation on that for 8 languages, and now we're able to do this. Broadcast in all languages. This makes it very much more easily for groups to may have workshops because otherwise they would have to click on mute and unmute each time. So now that's they can have a flow and also the programming that runs on autopilot in all languages. It was also limited to a number of languages. Now, it's in all languages starting from 5:30 a.m. Israel time. It's just playing 24/7. And another thing following the gratitude event we had on Sunday about the trial that we won, we wanted to give an update about additional efforts that we make in order to clean the reputation of our organisation and route online. We hired a company whose role is to scan the internet all the time and give us an alert on anything that might be negative. That about our organisation or our review and or fraudulent content. And this company can help us close down all kinds of imposter profiles and the like. We were able to do that for some Spanish pages. There was a page with 15,000 followers who were just looking at a page where it looks like it's our RAV page looks legit, but the Spanish department says it's not us, and we tried to close it many times unsuccessfully, and with that company we were able to do that. In Russian we also had a similar situation where students who left and got organized in some group where it was posting very negative content, and for years we weren't able to shut it down. Now we were so generally, if you meet some imposter profiles or some negative anything you think is just wrong, tell us and we'll make the efforts to remove that. And an additional topic we had a process that we discussed recently of shutting down our live lessons and opening them up for subscribers. So as part of the tuition project, which has many aspects, and its purpose is to cover all the expenses that we have that we consume as students. So we made a process that completed the closure of the old site COBTV and group.info, and we made our central platforms the platforms that now require registration and an active subscription. The platforms that are available today are the Arvoot system, the virtual home on mobile. It's the Arvoot and also the Kabbalam app, only the live broadcast area, and Kavalar TV app. It's important to say today we have about 7,000 subscribers, actually more accurately 6,700, and active subscribers. And until today, we allowed 1,662 friends to receive the help funding, which is 3 months of subscription, so they can be with us. And the size of the benefit that we were able to give the friends, these friends, is over $200,000. The reason I'm mentioning this is that this process of shutting down the other channels was done in a very premeditated way. We are, on the one hand, shutting down certain places while we use what we actually consume, and yet it's also important for us to not leave anyone behind and give entrance to anyone who can prove they actually need help, and anyone who knows they need help knows how to make contact with the heads of languages and ask for that, and then we examine whether the request is legitimate or not, and if it is, then without thinking twice we will approve. That's it. Last thing I want to update about the accommodation for the World Plea Friends during the Congress, and that's to me the most important update. We towards the February Congress, a very big Congress where we invite all our friends all over the world to come here to Israel. Unlike previous years where we were able to accommodate friends in the building, we cannot do it this year. This is due to legalities and legal issues here in Israel. So we want to now make an effort to host many friends in our homes here in Vo, with friends from the Israeli. In all the Israeli, we really think that the distance we have from the centre is negligible, so there's no problem in doing such a thing, and therefore we will work on creating the infrastructure to allow friends from overseas to ask for accommodation that's on their end, and then on our end to apply as hosts that can host friends. So we'll have a more detailed update on that afternoon, and my friends, in the time we have left, we would like to take questions. If there are any general questions on any topic, on the topics that we discuss now or other topics, various topics, you are now invited to ask freely here or of course in the World Clee through the boot system. Until then, I'll say also that today in the noon lesson, in addition to the study, we will also have another discussion, just like the one we had here, but more brief, with all our the friends, the men and women, questions if there are any, proposals, any comments, any feedback. Obviously, this whole thing is surprising, but when trying to follow what Rav used to do all of the years at the end of the lesson, especially on Shabbat after they're there, where discussions and all kinds of ideas came up, he would say, is there any idea, any question, anything that's not clear about everything that we discussed so far in the discussions, in the direction of the society which we're going, the preparations for the Congress is the process itself. I see Levon is already putting up his hand, so that's the idea now. Okay, Lavon, please. Actually, we already made experiments. R10 was also in the SPT 23 and PT2 and New York 2. I'm talking about the standing between the friends. I think that's necessary because we see less and less Rav giving the lesson in a live form, that he's with us. So the study between the friends gives us the same power so that we can feel each other in a very good way, and it also greatly strengthens the tense. If we give a lesson, if our 10 gives a lesson, we feel responsibility over the whole world, So I think this is necessary to bring it back, the studying between the prince. This I wanted to propose as part of strengthening the lesson. This is the most important thing for our life, and I discovered a simultaneous transcription recently, and I started following what Array says. I discovered the lesson is on a different level. I suggest we open it up to the whole society so the friends can follow people who have a hard time staying focused. It's really a gift from the heavens. Everything that happened in 2021, you can see with a different depth on a different level. And I want to say to the friends who are doing the transcriptions, friends, you're the greatest of this generation. It's hard to describe how valuable it is, the gift you're giving us to the society. I'll connect to what Lav said. I have a thought during this whole meeting that we need to differentiate between duty, here between sharing and between partnership, because we talk about sharing and it's good that we know what's happening in society. But in my view, what I felt is that fans want to feel partners is just like what Lavon said, that we communicate something to society, give to society, belong to society in some way. The tense committee, what Piener suggested, it's me being a partner in what's happening. I think that's needed. Like for instance this gathering there, would be no problem for a 10 to do it, or 2 to discuss it and do it and discuss it, or we need to think in this form of partnership. Thank you everyone. One of the thoughts that came up is that the upcoming Congress should be not here, but where we used to have it, with great publicity, so that 7,000 or 10,000 people will come, and then many people will be able to come from abroad. That's what it feels like, and the strongest feeling is the greatness and importance of the goal. So it's a kind of an appeal or request that the codes of how the society belongs to the world, it will all break through. And all of this will happen through the connection between the tens. Thank you. Yes, Guy. First of all, I wanted to say thank you, because these scrutinies are really important. We're recently scrutinizing topics together. You feel like the 10 is a part, because what we scrutinize between us also arise in other friends. Everything just said. I also wanted to ask, we in the past had some open congresses before I came to the group. I would come specifically to the congresses, and I got to know many friends. I became part of that. I integrated kind of an entry point to the society to really feel you all close, and ultimately that perhaps opened the gates for many friends. So the question is if, in the future, we'll have some congresses that are open to other friends who are not necessarily in the group already, German free. I would like to direct our attention to the fact that the Congress is not just about a cooperation between the tens, but we've been working in the 10 for about 10 years. 10 goes through different times. The community is growing older. Are the states of the prince change? And I would like us to devote more attention perhaps to what does it mean, or in general what states does the 10 go through, which are called work in the 10, because today we have a state where the friends are working in the 10. So how do we strengthen the virtual environment if you don't have any group that's physically close to you, any other 10 that's close to you, so that Every 10 will feel that it is a part of a general community, maybe its region. Also, thank you will be last. Thank you very much, my soul, the world. Clee, there is a suggestion in relation to connection between tens. There used to be the citrine congresses in BB history. Maybe it's good to bring them back, and regional congresses where the tents can connect together and work hard together. I think this will strengthen the connection between tents. Thank you. We want to say thanks to the friends, to the management, and to everybody who contributed to this discussion, and we will finish with Rob's words from the lesson we heard today. I'm happy that I have no support, that I can be adhered to without any proof, without any demands, without any gifts or promises on his side. None of that. I want actually the opposite, even more than that I will have all kinds of doubts and problems and rejections, and in spite of that I am in adhesion with him. Let's read it again. I'm happy that I have no support, that I can be adhered to the Creator without any proof, without any demands, without any gifts or promises on his side. Nothing. I actually want the opposite, and even more than that I will have all kinds of doubts and problems and rejections, and in spite of that I am adhered to him.